Hey, good morning, y'all. This is Ned over at MyPhilippineDreams.com, running solo once again because Michelle is still sleeping. We're continuing our series on coping strategies, on dealing with some of the challenges, with some of the things that you might not like about living in the Philippines. Here at MyPhilippinedreams.com, it's our duty and our obligation to show both sides, the positive and the negatives about living here. And recently we just did 15 things that you might not like about living in the Philippines. And yesterday we just started a series, two-part hopefully, on how to deal with some of those things. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Number 6, we talked about some inadequacies and challenges with infrastructure, to wit, electricity, internet, and roads. Some areas of the Philippines are more susceptible to brownouts, which are actually blackouts, than other areas. Here on Negros, we have our own thermal plant, which runs off the local volcano, which provides us with pretty solid electricity. Every now and then, we'll have like a 10-15 minute brownout. They're very infrequent. And usually once a month on Sundays, they'll have an all-day brownout to do line maintenance. On the other hand, Mindanao relies on hydroelectric power for most of its electrical production. And in the summertime in particular, when it's really dry, there's a lot of brownouts over there. When I was down visiting Michelle and where she lives, there were like 8 to 10 hour brownouts every day. I cannot live like that. I need electricity because I need a fan going at least most of the time. So depending on where you live, your electricity might be more reliable or less reliable than other areas of the Philippines. As a matter of fact, I guess this year Luzon is dealing with some severe electrical production challenges. And they're actually bringing in these giant generators or something. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. As far as internet, internet, man. We had Sky Cable. They were great for a while. Then I guess they oversubscribed or something. So when there's a lot of people online, we're getting horrible internet right now. You have different providers, PLDT, Globe, Sky Cable, and what you should do when you're moving into an area and you don't have internet and you're going to subscribe to a provider, go around and talk to the neighbors in the area, talk to other people that have PLDT, Globe, Sky, see what their experiences are, see what the downtime is, see how dependable the connections are. Because a lot of times you cannot subscribe, they'll come in, they'll set up the box and everything, and if it doesn't work, you can't say, okay, I want to cancel my contract. Usually they lock you in for 1, 2, or 3 year contracts on this stuff. So there's no try before buy. So make sure you're talking to people about their internet connections. Some people will get multiple ISPs. They'll get Globe and they'll get PLDT, for example. And there's actually these load sharing routers that you can purchase that you can plug both into. And it doesn't add it. You can't like add a 3 megabit and a 3 megabit and get 6 megabit. But what it does is it shares packets or does something crazy, and you get a more solid, reliable signal. We're actually looking at PLDT right now because Sky Cable, again, is just not providing the connection speeds that we need. And Michelle also does VoIP for her work, so we need better internet. So that's a challenge. The roads, a lot of times you'll be dealing with potholes, a lot of times you'll be dealing with construction. Go slow. There's no sense on having a big 1100cc motorcycle here and doing 80, 100 kilometers per hour because bad things will happen. I get a little 125cc motorcycle and it's good enough, but I might be upgrading soon. So those are some things to keep in mind when it comes to infrastructure. The next thing you might not like about the Philippines is driving. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Filipinos are superior riders than most Westerners when it comes to motorcycles and scooters because they've been doing it a lot longer than we are in more challenging conditions than we have. But I don't think that they're safer drivers. They really don't go through driver's education. A lot of times you have to use a fixer to deal with the testing and the practical exam. So a lot of people don't look. A lot of times there are not stop signs. A lot of times there are not street lights. The good news is you get used to it. I remember the first week I was riding here, going through intersections was just a horror show. And it wasn't everybody else, it was me, because I didn't know the rhythm, I didn't know how to do it. But after a while, you'll get into the rhythm. You'll be looking at other people. You'll be doing the head nod, and you'll just figure it out. You'll learn how to edge out and be aggressive. So you do get used to it. Having a motorcycle here is a lot more convenient than having a car, because when you're in a car, you can only go as fast as the tricycle in front of you. Whereas if you have a motorcycle or scooter, you can zip around them a lot more easier. So you do get used to that. The next thing you might not like about the Philippines is the language barrier. Yes, everybody speaks English here. They speak at least 3 languages. They speak Filipino Tagalog, they speak a local dialect, Ilonggo, Bisaya, and they also speak English. And a lot of them speak multiple dialects. Michelle speaks 4 languages. A lot of times they're going to be talking in the local dialect around you. A lot of people aren't real comfortable speaking English because it gives them nosebleed, and they think that their skills aren't that proficient. So a lot of times people will be talking around you, and that creates a barrier because you don't know what people are saying. A way to deal with that, a way to compensate with that, is just to learn some of the local dialect. I thought Bisaya and a lot of Filipino languages and dialects were going to be like Spanish, and they use a lot of common words for some things like days of the week and the months and counting and stuff. But a lot of the grammar and stuff, and the nouns and all that stuff, the pronouns, are a lot different. So you just basically start to pick it up, you start to practice, you get a little study guide, you do a little bit every day, every little week, and you practice. You talk to people in Bisaya. They'll get a chuckle out of it, but a lot of times they'll appreciate that you're at least making the effort. And it's good to know what people are saying around you because it creates more of a social connection. Whereas if you don't know the language or you don't know what's going on around you, you're going to feel isolated. So that's a way to deal with that. The next one is healthcare. Again, there are no external automated external defibrillators scattered about. Sometimes it's hard to get medications. Sometimes it's difficult to get to a hospital. If you need medications that are not readily available here, one of the coping mechanisms that you can use is when you're in the U.S., you can ask your prescriber for a 90-day supply and ask him to double the dosage, and then get one of those pill cutters, and you have basically a 180-day supply. After 90 days, you have your people, you give them authorization to pick up your medications, and you get another 90-day supply. So basically you're getting a year's supply. You pay twice, you're getting double the dosage, you cut them in half. Some of the medications that people might need are actually cheaper here. For example, you get bacterial infection, antibiotics are very inexpensive here. But some of the more specific medications like Simvastatin and stuff like that are a lot more expensive and they're harder to get. So that's something you've got to keep in mind. Also, if you have like heart conditions, if you're concerned about just dropping with a heart attack, you've got to accept the fact that that might be your final farewell. And I've heard expats say that, guys in their 70s and 80s say, I'm probably going to die here. And they're okay with that. They're resigning themselves to that reality, that the ambulances are going to come swooping in with the paramedics and the paddles, clear, and they're going to be brought back to life. It's just something that you have to accept. Again, I've only had positive experiences with the healthcare system here, and I've had numerous experiences with them. It has been nothing serious other than my broken back and sciatica. I don't have heart conditions or anything like that. But healthcare, if you have serious health issues, the Philippines might not be for you. You just got to look at that as a bottom line. I've only had positive experiences with the healthcare system here, and I've had numerous experiences with them. It has been nothing serious other than my broken back and sciatica.